The members of the Syrian community in Sweden affirmed their solidarity with the Syrian people and their support for their heroic army. Syrian Arab army units destroyed several terrorist hideouts and killed dozens of them in Latakia and Homs. Russia asserts that alleviating the embargo imposed on arms supplies to the Syrian opposition runs counter to international law. Iran reiterates assertion that the only way to solve the crisis in Syria is through national dialogue and non-intervention. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Yarado Krikorian from the News Center in Damascus. The Syrian-Swedish As-Salam Society held a speech rally commemorating Syria's Independence Day, Al-Jala, with the participation of a crowd of the Syrian community in Sweden.
Syrians believe that the homeland has no limits, as it is always in their heart and memory wherever they go. The long distance and the expatriation haven't stopped the Syrian community in Sweden from celebrating the 67th anniversary of the glorious Al-Jala, marking the Independence Day. The Syrian-Swedish Al-Salam Society held a ceremony commemorating independence, expressing confidence that the Syrian people will overcome all the terrorists in their beloved country. Members of the Syrian community in Sweden asserted that the support of the Syrian Arab army is the best retaliation to the conspirators and to those who bet on the strength of Syria. On the 17th of April, the French occupation was defeated at the hands of the ancestors, and today history repeats itself as the grandsons will again defeat the occupation, which is disguised this time by changing its face.
The Ministry of Religious Endowments has denounced the crime of kidnapping Christian men of religion north of Syria, particularly the Archbishop of the Greek Orthodox, Paul Al-Yazigi, and the Archbishop of the Syriac Orthodox denomination, Yohanna Ibrahim, as well as the assassination of the deacon in the car that was carrying them north of Aleppo. The ministry said this criminal operation is part of the scheme that targets intellectuals, scholars and men of religion. Thus, it has claimed the life of a prominent Islamic scholar, namely Dr. Muhammad Saeed Ramadan al-Bouti. The ministry denounced all crimes of kidnapping and assaults against the citizens of the homeland in general and the Islamic and Christian men of religion in particular. It considered this crime as an aggression against all men of religion in Syria and all the Arab and Islamic worlds. The ministry said it has become clear that such acts are being carried by armed Takfiri terrorist groups, particularly Jabhat al-Nusra, that has declared its allegiance to the terrorist Al-Qaeda organization. The ministry added that it has been proved that those who carried this barbaric aggression and assaulted the Christian men of religion are Chechen mercenaries who work under the command of the Takfiri Jabhat al-Nusra. In Latakia and in cooperation with the residents, Arab army units seized weapon caches in Aslebe neighborhood where large quantities of ammunition, machine guns and explosive devices were found. The seized weapons included NATO and Russian guns, pistols with silencers, defensive grenades and circuits for detonating explosives, regular detonators and detonators with fuses, in addition to dynamic explosives and spares. In Latakia, a Kia car was seized that carried special devices to blow up glued explosive charges remotely controlled, in addition to guns and ammunition at Latakia's eastern entrance. Also in Hom's countryside, a unit of the Syrian Arab Army eliminated a terrorist group who tried to attack a military convoy, which resulted in killing and injuring all of the terrorists. A source said that the terrorist group attacked a military convoy about 1 kilometer east of Palmyra city, in addition to another terrorist group that was attacked near the Dediman Hotel. France and Britain, who are in favor of arming Jabhat al-Nusra, are set on getting the approval of the EU to send arms supplies to the terrorists in Syria. They have been met with an opposition on a wide scale by the European community, who is concerned over hundreds of Europeans who have joined the ranks of the Takfiris that are linked to Al-Qaeda in thought and behavior. The German foreign minister reiterated his country's rejection of the armament idea, as his Belgian counterpart called on the EU countries to move jointly in order to deter European youths and stop them from going to fight on the side of extremist groups in Syria. In the absence of approval of their scheme, the pro-armament sides have turned to another plot, namely the legalization of stealing the Syrian people's oil. They have given the orders to their terrorist stooges to plunder some oil wells to start transporting petroleum to them via Turkish territories. They had previously given the orders to destroy Syria's economic infrastructure and steal the factories of Aleppo and the northern region and move them to Turkey. The USA and the EU have become supporters of the Takfiri terrorism that kills the Syrians and destroys their society. They are set on legalizing this terrorism at the information, political and diplomatic levels in a dangerous precedent, according to which any group in any state is given the right to be armed, regardless of its objectives and the danger it poses on humanity. Russia has stressed that alleviating the embargo imposed on supplying the Syrian opposition with arms runs counter to international law. In a press conference in Moscow following his talks with his Guinean counterpart, François Luncini-Fall, Lavrov said he will meet tomorrow with his American counterpart, John Kerry, in the Belgian capital, Brussels, to discuss with him the situation in Syria. He said Kerry was inclined to see a political solution reached to the crisis in Syria as soon as possible. Lavrov added that he agreed with Kerry that both Russia and the USA were capable of doing a lot of work to urge those who are against a peaceful solution to change their mind. Iran has re-emphasized that the only solution for the crisis in Syria is to support national dialogue among the Syrians themselves, away from interference in Syria's internal affairs. The Iranian stance was expressed by Iran's foreign minister spokesman Ramin Mahlanparest, who referred to the attempts by the enemies of the Islamic nation to trigger discord among its peoples, calling for solidarity and unity among all national parties in the Islamic world in order to confront all the plots. Iranian spokesman said that the military support provided by the US to the Zionist entity destabilizes the region and undermines its security, pointing out that persisting in that support encourages the Zionist entity to annihilate the peoples of the region. Belgian Foreign Minister Didier Reynders expressed hope that the EU members would join action to deter young Europeans from going to Syria to fight alongside the armed terrorist groups there. In a statement on the sideline of the meeting of the EU foreign ministers in Luxembourg, Reynders said that the phenomenon of the young Europeans' travel to fight in Syria is very worrying, hoping to raise this issue at the EU meeting. He added that there are dangerous terrorist groups in Syria. Belgian newspapers had revealed last month that between 50 and 80 young men, most of them are from Antwerp, north of Belgium, have joined to fight with the armed terrorist groups in Syria. The governor of Daraa called most of the governmental directorates in the governorate to cooperate with the national society bodies in order to overcome the current crisis. During his meeting with the managers of the services and economic departments, he pointed out the need of bringing to account all the wrongdoers and facilitating services for citizens. Discussions covered the obstacles facing the work mechanisms, especially the attacks of terrorists, in addition to the government departments in the insecure areas which were robbed by terrorists, underlining the need to take the appropriate procedures against the employees who are not committed to their work. With this, we end our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, syriaonline.sy. Now to latest business and market news with Nariman Qassam after a short break.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Al-Qunaitra Governor Dr. Malik Muhammad Ali declared that about 6,000 tons of apples were brought from the occupied Golan through Al-Qunaitra crossing. He also pointed out to the efforts exerted for marketing apples for the second consecutive month using the machinery of the International Red Cross and international peacekeeping forces, which supported the occupied Golan citizens in order to reduce their suffering from the occupation's action aimed at targeting this product that is considered to be main source of livelihood for the population. The apples are available in most of the general establishment of storage and marketing. The Minister of Industry has said that the general establishment of engineering industry can benefit from the Ministry of Electricity's experience in connection with Hama Steel Company. In addition to the need to follow up the work mechanisms, the Minister also called on the Administrative Council to set a schedule in order to deal with the company's problems, such as increasing income and production. Minister of Public Works, Engineer Hussein Arnous, has affirmed the public construction company's willingness to accomplish the requested governmental projects, which are estimated at 50 million Syrian pounds. During his meeting with the Directorate of the General Construction Companies, he called on the companies to implement the requested projects for this year, even within the areas affected by the events, counting on the number of workers and equipments available in the specified areas. The Minister also called on the companies to be ready to implement projects in all areas, especially for renovating the services projects. The General Establishment for Cereal Processing and Trade is getting ready to receive the wheat crop for this season. The Ministry of Agriculture indicated that the expected production amount of wheat is about 3 million tons. On the other hand, the establishment affirmed that it will open new sales centers and it is working on ensuring the purchase of the crop, which is estimated at 60 billion Syrian pounds. The manager of Food and Agriculture Organization in Damascus asserted that the organization will work in a new approach to help the integration between the development and urgent aids. The manager pointed out that the urgent aids regarding the national agricultural plans will be provided to the agricultural sector with the necessary needs. The manager also indicated that such aids in the field of crops and cattle would be provided in the autumn season of 2013-2014. Damascus stocks market rose by 23 marks from the last session, where it was closed at night 170 marks. Trading sessions were closed on 319,519 shares, distributed on 168 deals, estimated at 32,118,000 Syrian pounds. The bank sector was the first in trades value, while the insurance sector was the second. The Brent crude fell below $100 per barrel after data showed a slowdown recovery in the Chinese manufacturing during the second quarter, which decreased demands on oil in the second biggest consumer of oil in the world. European shares advanced for a third day as some companies reported better than estimated results. The US index futures were little changed and the Asian shares retreated, with the regional benchmark index heading for its first decline in 3 days. Also, the Nikkei index dropped 0.31%, which pushed investors to sell for profits after registering last session its highest closure in 5 years. In the local market, the Jewelers Assembly set the price of the 21-carat gold gram at 4,850 Syrian pounds, while the Rashadi golden coin was set at 35,400 Syrian pounds and the English coin at 39,600 Syrian pounds. Another failing attempt for the US dollar to overcome the 100 yens during early dealings. Trading of Asia, as investors think that the US currency's passing this level is only a matter of time. The yen rose against all of its major peers after a private report signaled a slowdown in the Chinese manufacturing, underscoring concerns that the largest Asian economy is faltering and boosting demand for refugee assets, whereas the euro stayed weak against the US dollar and the yen, after reports showed that the manufacturing and services industries in the region have contracted in April. Ladies and gentlemen, this was our economic news for today. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. Have a nice day.